Discipline. If there is a magic word that stands out above all the rest, this is the one. Discipline. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, the bridge between inspiration and value achievement, the bridge between necessity and productivity. Remember, all good things are upstream. The passing of time takes us a-drifting, and drifting only brings us the negative, the disastrous, the disappointment, and the failure. Failure is not a cataclysmic event. It is not generally the result of one major incident, but rather a long list of accumulated little failings. Failing in life is failing to think today, failing to act today, failing to care, to strive, to climb, to learn, to keep trying day by day. If your goal requires that you write 10 letters today and you write only 3, you are down 7 letters. If you want to make 5 calls and you only make 1, you are down 4 on calls. If your plan calls for saving $10 today and you save none, you're down $10 today. Now the danger is looking at an undisciplined day and concluding that no great harm has been done. It doesn't seem like such a bad day. But add up these days to make a year, and then add up those years to make a lifetime, and perhaps you can now see how repeating today's small failures can easily turn your life into a major disaster. Success, on the other hand, is just the same process in reverse. If you plan to make 10 calls and you end the day making 15, now you're up 5 calls. If you then get up a few on letters, move up the savings numbers, you can see what a massive difference it could make in a year, and what wealth and accomplishment awaits for a lifetime. Discipline is like a set of magic keys that unlocks all the doors of wealth, happiness, sophistication, culture, high self-esteem, pride, joy, accomplishment, satisfaction, and success. The first key to discipline is awareness of the need for and the value of discipline, and especially the discipline to make the changes. What will it take? What must I do? And what must I become to get all I want from my life? The second key is the willingness. More than that, the eagerness to maintain your new discipline deliberately, wisely, consistently. And the third key to discipline is the commitment to master the circumstances of your daily life, to see and harness the opportunities to make something of the sun and the rain, the good as well as what comes in the guise of misfortune. Discipline does many things, but most important of all is what it does for you. It makes you feel better about yourself. Even the smallest discipline can have an incredible effect on your attitude. And the good feeling you get, that surging feeling of self-worth that comes from starting a new discipline, is almost as good as the feeling that comes from the accomplishment of the discipline. Second, a new discipline immediately alters your life direction. You don't change destinations immediately. That is yet to come. But you can change direction immediately. And direction is very important. Third, discipline cooperates with nature. Everything strives. It is a common life function. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it can. Everything strives to become all it can possibly be, and that striving to become is what discipline is all about. Disciplining ourselves to fulfill our natural potential to become all that we can be. And finally, discipline attracts opportunity. Opportunity is always looking for ambition and skill in action. Discipline taps the unlimited power of commitment. The human will in action, driven by inspiration, enticed by desire, tempered by reason, guided by intelligence, can bring you to that high and lofty place called the good life. Discipline, Those unique steps of intelligent thought and activity that put a lid on temper and a faucet on courtesy, that develop positive and control negative, that encourage success and deter failure, that design lifestyle and control frustration, that enhance health and curb sickness, that promote happiness and manage sadness. Discipline, the start and the continuing process that brings all good things. And remember, anyone can start the process. It's not if I could, I would. It's if I would, I could. If I will, I can. So start the new process. You can begin a new habit no matter how small it is. Small isn't important. Whether or not you start and whether or not you continue are all that is important. And don't be deluded by an affirmation. Only affirm what you are truly prepared to do. Many of us delude ourselves with our words into believing that we're making changes and making progress, when in fact our daily activity is taking us in the exact opposite direction of our affirmations. Why would you walk in the opposite direction of your dreams? The man dreams of wealth and walks daily towards certain financial disaster. The man wishes for happiness and thinks the thoughts and commits the acts that take him to certain despair. So to have a prosperous life, start a prosperity plan. To become wealthy, start a wealth plan. Remember, you don't have to be wealthy to have a wealth plan. A person with no means can have a rich plan. If you are ill, start a health plan. If you don't have energy, start an energy plan. If you don't feel good, start a feel-good plan. If you're not smart, start a smart plan. If you can't, start a can plan. If you haven't, start a have plan. Anyone can. Even a bad person can start hearing good messages and reading good books. Recognize that the start of the better life, the happy life, the wealthy life, is today. This is exciting. Both the process and the result can begin today. Start the new journey today. If you think of a new idea, today is the day to begin the discipline of putting that idea into action. Set this day up as a long, busy, exciting start for your new life. Get your first book for your new library today. Begin your new practice of setting goals today. Start clearing out a drawer of your new orderly desk today. Start eating an apple a day on your new health plan today. Put some money in your new investment for fortune account today. Start reading with intensity for your new wealth of mind plan today. Write a postponed letter today. Make a delayed telephone call today. Pick up your camera and take a picture of something to start your new treasury of photographs today. Get some momentum going on your new commitment to the better life. See how many activities you can pile on in this first day. Go all out. Break away from the negative downward pull of gravity. Start the thrusters going. Prove to yourself that waiting is over, hoping is past, and that faith and action have now taken charge. It's a new day, a new beginning for your new life. With discipline, you can't believe the list of positive moves you can make in the first day of your new beginning.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
It would not have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. Say, well, I got this lousy philosophy, and that's how come I got pennies in my pocket and nothing in the bank. Things aren't working well. That would not have occurred to me. I found it much easier to blame the government, much easier to blame the tax problem. I used to say taxes are too high. See, but you can't use that anymore. I threw all that old excuse stuff away. I used to blame the traffic, the weather, used to blame circumstances, right? People say I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too old, I was raised in obscurity, raised on a farm, parents of modest means, all the stuff. If you were to ask me, how come you find yourself here, Mr. Rohn, age 25, living in America, land of abundance and opportunity, pennies, zero in the bank, not doing well, creditors calling, it would not have occurred to me to blame my philosophy. I found it easier to blame the company policy. I used to say, if this is all they pay, how do they expect you to do well? So I figured that, my future was going to be tied to what everybody else was arranging, the economy and, right, interest rates. I used to say things cost too much. That was my whole explanation, not my philosophy, until my teacher taught me better that this is where the problem was, my own personal philosophy. Here's what's exciting about each person's personal philosophy. That's what makes us different than dogs and animals and birds and cats and spiders and alligators. That's what makes us different than all other life forms. The ability to think, the ability to use your mind, the ability to process ideas, and not just operate by instinct. In the winter, I'm telling you, the goose can only fly south. What if south doesn't look too good? Tough luck. It can only fly south. But see, human beings are not like a goose, can only fly south. I mean, you can turn around, go north, you can go east, you can go west, you can order the entire process of your own life. And we do that by the way we think. We do that by exercising our mind. We do that by processing ideas and come up with a better philosophy, a better strategy for our life, goals for the future, plans to achieve those goals. All this comes from developing our philosophy. Philosophy helps us to process what's available. Well, when we get here, we got seed and we got soil and we got some rain and we've got some what? Sunshine, and we've got some seasons, and what? The miracle of life. Now, the key is, what do you do with all this stuff? How do you turn all this stuff that's available here into equity, and promise, and lifestyle, and dreams, and future possibilities? All of this that's possible now with human beings, how do you take all this stuff and turn it into this equities and values? Well, it starts with philosophy. What is the seed? What is the soil? What is the sunshine? What is the rain? Is it possible to take some of each of all the stuff that's available and turn it into food, and turn it into value, and turn it into nourishment, turn it into something spectacular and unique that no other life form can do? And the answer is yes. But you cannot deal with all this stuff and what to do with it unless you start refining your philosophy. Think, use your mind, come up with ideas, and strengthen your philosophy. So the seed and the soil and the rain and the sunshine, this is called, the economy and the banks and the money and the schools and everything that's available out there, processing information, what to do with all that, and turn it into equity and value. That is the major challenge of life, my personal opinion. So each person's personal philosophy now is going to determine what you're going to do with seed and soil and sunshine and rain and miracle, the change of seasons. That's it. My personal opinion. Each person's personal philosophy is like the set of the sail. That's what this seminar is for today. Help you to trim a better sail. You don't need a better economy. You don't need better seed and soil. In fact, when it comes to seed and soil and rain and sunshine and seasons and the miracle of life, that's all you got. Now, what if you blame this stuff? Then you're blaming all you got. If you blame the economy, and you blame the schools, and you blame the teachers, and you blame the sermons and the preachers, and you blame, the marketplace, and you blame the company and company policy, what else is there? When some people get through with their blame list, there isn't nothing else. That's all there is. And if you blame the only thing you've got to work with, I'm telling you, it's called mistake colossal. In not understanding that that's all you've got to work with. And if this is all you've got to work with, then you don't change the seed, and you don't change the soil, and you don't change the rain, and you don't change the sunshine, you don't change the seasons. Right? Guy says, I'll take 3 springs, 4 summers, 9 falls, no winters. And no, you can't fool with this stuff. You got to take it like it comes. Then what do you change to make your life work well? You got to start with your philosophy. Now, once I understood this, here's the formula for failure, errors in judgment, being lax about developing your own personal philosophy. I'm telling you, it's called accumulated disaster. It doesn't matter whether it's your health or your bank account. Guy's got an empty bank account, probably has high cholesterol. Why? Over the last 6 years, he never paid attention to either one. And it doesn't matter whether it's a dollar, or whether it's your money, or whether it's your cholesterol count. All you got to do is commit the errors, and just because disaster doesn't fall on you at the end of the first day that you don't eat an apple. You say, well, I didn't eat an apple today, and tonight I'm not ill. Well, you got to be brighter than that. Someday you got to leave first grade. Now let me give you the secret to success. Formula for failure: a few errors in judgment repeated every day for 1 month starts the weakness, starts the disaster process. You can imagine what happens in 6 years. Now here's the formula for success. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. And you've started a whole new process called a whole new life. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. And if you decide today to go for the apple instead of the Hershey bar, I'm telling you, you have begun the process of turning your life around. And if you keep up that process, not only with your health habits, but with your money habits and with your communication habits, with your sales habits and management habits and every other habit that you've got, if you'll start that process, eliminate the errors and replace it with disciplines practiced, I'm telling you, you can start this process of life change immediately. After today, you don't ever have to be the same again. Only by choice. You don't have to walk out of here the same as you walked in today. Only by choice. You can start a whole new process. And you say, well, Mr. Rohn, is it that simple? Yes, it's that simple. Where else would you start but with an apple? You don't have to start with something staggering. What if you should be walking around the block for your good health and you don't? What'll that do in 6 years? I'm telling you, the word is disaster. You could and you should and you don't. Here's an even stronger word. You won't. I mean, don't might mean you're careless. Won't probably means you're stubborn. And either one's called disaster. Could, should, don't. I'm telling you, that's why at the end of 6 years, I found myself with pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, creditors calling. Could, should, won't. Could, should, don't is called disaster. Now, how do you change all that? The next 6 years, I got rich. The next 6 years, I became a millionaire. By the time I'm 31, I'm a millionaire. How about that? You say, well, Mr. Rohn, what happened? Well, strangely enough, during that second 6 years of my economic life, the government was about the same. I'm telling you, taxes were about the same. My negative relatives were the same. I'm telling you, the economy was about the same, and prices were about the same, and everything else was about the same. Circumstances were about the same. Then how come I got rich? How come I totally changed my life? I was not the same. Somebody says, well, what did you go to work on to do all that? I started with my philosophy. I started amending my errors by doing some better thinking, changing my mind, coming up with ideas that I didn't have before I met my teacher. And once that whole process started for me, I'm telling you, I changed my whole life. Within a 6-year period, I was never the same.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
You shared it with them, and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. Because God didn't put it in their imagination. He put it in yours. It was your evidence of things not seen. See, all this stuff you've been imagining, you ought to start working on it. Because that's what God really got for you. Your real life is in your imagination. I'm here to tell you that. You think I'm here by accident? I'm here because he put this in my imagination when I was 10. When I was 10, he showed me I was going to be on TV. That's all I ever wanted. The assignment when I was in the 6th grade was everybody write their name on a piece of paper and write what you want to be. You know what I wrote on my paper? I want to be on TV. Now, the problem I had, though, was I used to suffer with a serious stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I stuttered for years. I flunked out of school. I'm on my 3rd marriage. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. But at 10, though, I wrote on a piece of paper, I want to be on TV. So the teacher went around the room and read everybody's paper. She had you stand up when she called your name. And the only assignment was your name and what you want to be. Doctor, lawyer, dentist, basketball player, football player. I wrote I want to be on TV. She saved me for last. She said, little Stevie, come to the front. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to the front because I got the best answer. Because ain't nobody had put that on their paper. She called me to the front. I'm thinking I'm finna give me a gold star, but I was wrong about that. She called me to the front to humiliate me. First of all, you know I can't talk. I suffered with stuttering stammer so bad, man. I couldn't talk at all. And that lady lit in on me. Why did you write this on your paper? Now I'm standing there, I can't talk. Who in this school ever been on TV? Who in your family ever been on TV? Who in this neighborhood ever been on TV? I'm crushing, man. I'm standing there dying. She said, look at you standing there. You can't even talk. How they gonna put somebody like you on TV? So every Christmas, I send her a flat screen TV.
We need to let go of our need to fit into this small box society placed us in. And we must imagine the life we really want. Then, when we are certain what that life is, we have to go for it. We only get one shot at this miracle of human life. Live it fully and exactly how you want. Sure, we all have your dreams. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other, as though everything is a miracle. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. It really is.
Dreams without action, that's the path to delusion. Without action, these dreams and goals will fill your life with a load of negative emotions. Things like anxiousness, nervousness. They will fester inside you and drain your energy. The reason most people don't take action is simple. It's fear. Fear of failure, fear of success. And the only way to overcome this and to stop making excuses why you shouldn't act is to make not taking action more painful than taking action. People sit around and they focus on all the bad shit that might happen to them if they try to act, that they completely forget about what will happen if they don't. So think about it right now. Let's think of some things that might happen if you try to do the thing that you've been wanting to do for years. Okay, well, it might not work the first time. It might not be as easy as you thought.
People are going to think you're mad. They're going to look at you and think you're insane. They're going to tell you like, it ain't possible. It's risky. You shouldn't do it. Be careful. Stick to what you know. Stick to what you do. That. Follow your dreams. These people have to see to believe it, but you need to believe it to see it. Amazing things happen when you believe you have something. Your brain actively goes out to make it happen. It starts to notice little subtle opportunities that you would have otherwise deleted because it knows it's got a job to do to get you what you want.
But if you keep taking action, in spite of all this stuff that might happen, guess what? Sooner or later, you're going to start winning. Remember, there ain't no such thing as failure, baby, only feedback. So to make yourself take action, you got to make a decision. And that decision has to be final. People take action and get done when they have had enough. They decide. And they say, that's it, I'm done, no more. You're either moving forward or standing still. The choice is yours. Decide.
In this social media world that we live in today, it's so easy to lose your way. I look around at so many people today and can see that they just don't know who they are. It's easy to see the life that we live in today through some Snapchat filter. To look around at everybody else and say, that's what life looks like. That life looks perfect. I want to be just like that. So they go around and start acting like other people, doing what other people do, taking a selfie in front of an expensive car, put 1 million filters on the picture and upload that to Instagram to tell the world, this is who I am. The problem is, behind closed doors, they know that that's not who they are. So they end up lost, wandering around in a lie that they created. And the only thing to keep the lie going is more lights, more pictures, more filters, until one day they look around and realise that they have lost themselves along the way. They have no idea who they are or could be because they've been trying for so long to be someone else. I think the greatest, most influential people in history deep down are the way they are because above everything else, they were themselves. No one else. They wasn't like someone else or even compared to anyone else. You have to follow your heart. You have to be you. You have to make your choices based on your principles and beliefs, and don't let outside forces or influences dictate your decisions. I believe it's our decisions that make us who we are, and more importantly, who we could be. So if you go through life always making your decisions based on someone else and what they might think, you'll never truly find yourself. It all comes down to how much you care about what other people think. It's a scary thing in the world we live in today to be yourself, with so much fake perfection out there on social media. But I'll tell you this, it's also the best feeling in the world when you go through life knowing you ain't what other people's made you, but yourself. It's liberating. There's freedom in it. So stop hiding and be yourself.
So he really got on me about nutrition. Now, some of those health books are a bit weird, but you can separate out the weird stuff. There are cassettes on nutrition too. Remember, don't be a follower, be a student. Someone says, I read this book. Should I follow? And the answer is no. Read at least 2 books and make up your own mind. Don't be a follower, be a student. So take care of yourself. There's a Bible phrase that says, many times the spirit is willing, but the body's weak. So you have to work on both. You wake up in the morning and the mind says, let's go get 'em. And the body says, I can't even get out of bed. So work on your health. A person's library of books and cassettes reveals his or her most dominant desires. It's interesting to walk into someone's house and browse through the library. What does your library say about you? So read all the books. Now here's good news. You don't have to read them all at once. Try this. 2 books a week in 10 years is 1,000 books. If you read 1,000 books in the next 10 years, do you think they would greatly influence all the dimensions of your life? The answer is, of course. Well, here's what's exciting. It's only 2 books a week. However, I would suggest if you haven't read 2 books a week for the last 10 years, you are about 1,000 books behind. Can you imagine the incredible disadvantage it will be 10 years from now to stride into the marketplace 1,000 books behind? For some confrontations, you won't be a match. And for some opportunities, your knowledge will be too lacking. For some values, your philosophy will be too shallow. Missing skills, missing knowledge, missing insights, missing values, missing lifestyle. It could happen if you don't read the books. Remember, the book you don't read won't help. You can't read too many books, but you can read too few. Now, the next way to learn from others is to listen. Become a great listener. Get around successful people and listen. Listen to what they say, and listen to how they say it. There is something to be said for style as well as content, and never has listening to successful people been easier or less costly than it is today. With cassettes like the one you're listening to now, you can own cassette programs by and about the most successful people in any field. And you can listen to their ideas while you do something else, while driving your car, exercising, getting dressed in the morning, anytime. Listen over and over again until their ideas become your ideas, their inspiration, your inspiration. A lot of the books you're anxious to read, such as Think and Grow Rich, have been condensed and narrated on cassette. Your cassette library of great authors and ideas can be the investment with the greatest return of all. Great cassettes will do more than teach you great ideas. They'll also remind you of the important things you already know but sometimes forget. They'll lift your spirit. They'll keep your mind on what's important, on your goal and how you can achieve it. And what a modest investment for the seeds of fortune. Ideas well written, well spoken, well received, well learned, and well invested can be your driving life force for wealth and happiness.
You probably gifted, probably just as gifted as Wayne. But what do Wayne do more than anybody else? I bet you he outwork everybody. See, you get tight right now because you probably think, he don't outwork me. Yeah, he do. You can tell because it shows up. He might not outwork you, but maybe he smiled more. He might not outwork you, but maybe he got away with people more. Maybe he's just a people person. See, all these is gifts. Your gift will make room for you. You got to identify your God-given gift. If you don't identify your gift, you're going to waste your time. Telling jokes is my gift. It's what I do. I don't even know y'all. Let me tell y'all something. I could, listen, if I want to, I could turn this into a comedy show. I'm probably, everybody in here be throwing up. If I want to. I retired from stand-up. But do you understand who I am? Y'all must have forgot. I'm one of the original kings of comedy. I was a bad boy. It's my gift. So even as a motivational speaker, I use my gift. Nothing's more boring than sitting up listening to somebody talk for 45 minutes and you ain't laughed in 45 minutes. You ever snap your head back and you ain't know what you was? You ever been in church? Now, how did I get to October the 8th? Let me tell you how I got there. 1968. Oh, you gonna take it? Okay. I'm happily married. Better be fine, girl. I was telling you about your education a second ago. I heard somebody talk about the importance of education, and education is critical. You have to be educated. You have to be well-read. You got to be well-versed. There's no way around it.
That he is the God of detail, that every aspect of their created fiber fit into the environment in which they had been created so that they could function and eat and survive without losing anything or destroying anything. He was explaining to me everything. He was explaining to me like this amazing stuff, how he could look like at the dung of the animals and tell, you know, whether it was a male or a female or which way it went, all that kind of stuff. I looked at it. I didn't see too much, but it smelled something, but I didn't see nothing. But I was on the Jeep with my son and myself and the zoologist who was a professor from the university who had a wealth of knowledge and information and intellect, and he could explain everything about the animals. He could explain everything about them. But there was a Zulu who was sitting on the front of the Jeep in a small little chair with some kind of big old outfit on, and he was sitting out there, and the zoologist could explain about the animals. He knew everything about the animals, but he couldn't find them. The Zulu who was sitting on the edge of the Jeep said, "The elephant is over there." And all of a sudden, something hit me right smack dab in the middle of my bald head. I said, I am sitting right in between intellect and instinct. Intellect can explain it, but only instinct can find it. Instinct is an inborn pattern of behavior that is characteristics of a species whereby you have a motivation or impulse or a gut knowing. Or if you're a spiritual being, it's a prompting of the Holy Spirit. It defies logic or intellect, bypasses senses or reasoning, has nothing to do with what you read or studied or learned in school. It's an inner impulse, the nudging of the Holy Spirit to react beyond information. Now, intellect is real important. It's very, very important. You got to have intellect. The more intelligent you are, that too is a gift from God. But intellect without instinct will cause you to fall short from the elephant is over there. I said that good, didn't I? Try that with me. The elephant is over there. Oh, y'all are messing that up. You just hear you. You take that Australian and mix it with that African, it just falls over in the floor. I'm going to give you one more time. Say it. The elephant is over there. Good.
Stress, by the way, is the achiever word for fear. No, I'm not scared. I just have to get these things done. I'm stressed out. All these things are done. Well, what if you don't get them done? I have to get them done, but what if you don't? Well, then the thing will fall apart. What if it falls apart? Well, then it'll fail. What if it fails? Then I'll be a failure. If I follow the trail of your stress, it will bring me to your deepest fear. So if you own your fear, you can figure out where it is and actually how to change it in seconds. And when fear is no longer around, fear is your only enemy. Because when fear's not there, nothing stops you. Who's with me on this? Say I. But we don't call it fear because that doesn't seem cool to us. We're all adults. But kids, will kids show their fear? Oh yeah. They'll do it. They'll make sounds. They'll do everything. So I'd like you to do this time is when you greet somebody, I want you to exaggerate like you're deathly afraid. Like, hi. I want you to exaggerate it so you'd see what you're doing on a very subtle level underneath. I'll show you an example. Who's ever watched the Winter Olympics on television and you're in your chair and watching somebody snowboarding or skiing, and as you're watching, feel yourself doing this? Who knows what I'm talking about here? Say hi. So I'm gonna ask you to exaggerate so you notice it. So please play full out. It's the only way you're gonna see what you do, and see what do you do differently with your face, your voice, your body when you're really afraid. And it'll show you contrast. Just for 1 minute. As many people as you can, totally exaggerate, you're deathly afraid, go. Greet them, greet them, greet them. Okay, stop. Shake your body out, shake your body out. Now, nice and loud, did you use your body differently to go in this state, yes or no?
If you are capable of causing depression to yourself, I'm saying this not without any concern for your illness or not due to lack of compassion, because that is the nature of what's happening to you. If you're causing depression to yourself, you are able to generate substantial amount of intense emotions and thoughts, but in the wrong direction. If you don't have very strong emotions, very intense thoughts about something, you cannot get depressed. It is just that you are generating thoughts and emotion which work against you. not for you. So you are strong enough to cause depression to yourself, because for you to cause a mental illness for yourself, unless you're pathologically ill, which is just a small number of people, rest are all self-created. Most of them are self-created. A few are pathologically ill, they cannot help it. It just comes from within because of genetic and other factors. Almost everybody here, if we train them towards a certain kind of thought process and emotion and push them a little bit with the outside situations, almost everybody will go lose their mental balance. They will become clinically ill. They can be driven to madness, I'm saying, because the line between sanity and insanity is very thin. People keep pushing it. You get angry, you're pushing the line. It's a thin line. In fact, when you get angry, you know you're pushing the line. That's why the expression, I was mad at somebody. You're not mad at somebody, you're just going mad. You cannot be mad at somebody. You're just pushing your sanity, the boundaries of sanity, and moving into insanity for a certain period of time and coming back. You do one thing every day, you try this. 10 minutes a day, try intense anger on somebody. You will see in 3 months' time, you will be clinically there. Yes, just try it if you want, because if you keep pushing the line, you go mad and you come back, you go mad and you come back, one day you're not able to come back, that's all. One day you're not able to turn back, then you're clinically ill. You must understand, even if you got angry for a moment, you're already ill. Maybe you don't get the certificate of diagnosis. They don't slap a certificate on you that you're gone, but you are going, isn't it? You think it's your right to throw tantrums? You think it's your right to get angry with people? You think it's your privilege to be depressed so that you'll get attention from somebody? You keep playing this, one day you will not be able to turn back.
From occasionally you may experience low levels of physical energy, and this can affect the mind too. The important thing is, first of all, when you talk about being depressed and so on, to see whether there is… what kind of thoughts are being created in your mind during that time. Ask yourself whether, or examine whether the certain types of thinking create that feeling of depression. Thoughts like, oh, it's all pointless anyway, or what's the point of it all, I hate this world, there's no point in even struggling anymore, I'm fed up, completely fed up with life, I can't take anymore. That type of thinking. Are you aware what is the relationship between the emotion that you feel and your thought processes? Are perhaps your thoughts creating that emotion? Or could it be that the emotion is creating the thoughts? So when you are depressed, there will be certain thoughts going through your mind, and probably there will not be pleasant thoughts. So be aware of the relationship between what you're feeling, this depressed feeling of sadness, depression, you feel dejected, and your thought processes. And if in the moment of thinking, those types of thought that accompany the feeling of depression or pointlessness, if you can be there and observe those thoughts, then again, as in the first question, answer to the first question, when you recognize those thoughts, you no longer completely believe in them. You recognize them as a conditioned movement in your mind, and then you may be able to come to an acceptance of whatever it is you're feeling at this moment without adding the baggage of thought to it. So what remains then is this feeling of perhaps low energy, or it could be an activation of your pain body to some extent. You feel emotion in you that doesn't feel good, but you're then no longer fueling it with your thinking. So if there's enough awareness in you while you're going through a period of depression, allow yourself to feel what it is you're feeling, but be careful that you don't fuel it with your thinking. And if you feel what you feel, that's all you have to do is surrender to your experience of this moment. You accept your experience of this moment, which at this moment may be not pleasant, but that's what is inside you.
Practice bravery training. You know, you want to be a great footballer. We understand you've got to put in the time to practice. You want to be a great chef. We understand you've got to do the practice. You want to be a great entrepreneur. You've got to put in the hours of rigor and discipline building your business. You want to be a great chess champion. Of course, they're obsessed monomaniacally with practice. And yet when it comes to fear, we don't live in a society that values bravery training. You don't really hear people saying, go out and use this day to practice becoming fearless. And yet, you know, we all know the 10,000-hour rule. We all know the 10-year rule pioneered by Anders Ericsson at University of Florida, the preeminent researcher in the field of exceptional performance. And that 10-year rule has now been popularized by a lot of authors. But what he found was this: if you look at any great performer, they had one thing in common. They spent the equivalent of 10 years or 10,000 hours practicing their skill before the first signs of genius showed up. And so to become fearless, why not find some time every day to practice becoming fearless? Why not use whatever irritates you or frustrates you or frightens you during your day as bravery training? So let's say your supervisor walks in and says, you know, tomorrow I'd like to give you to give a presentation on that project you did so brilliantly on. And start to pay attention. You notice you start to feel afraid. Develop the mindset where you say, okay, I'm going to say yes, because that is bravery training. Let's say you go home and with your intimate partner, you want to speak up, you want to say something. Maybe you want to ask for more love. Maybe you want to ask for one of your needs to be met because you feel it's unmet. But then you feel, well, what if he or she judges me? What if I get laughed at? What if they think I'm strange? Develop the mindset where you recognize that everything that scares you is bravery training. Okay, so what I'm suggesting on the first insight is really practice becoming fearless, and you will become a fearless human being.